Hello, hello, everybody. How is everyone today? Fairy Freak, hello, welcome in. Good to see you back. Thanks for joining. All right, who else is with us today? Let me know. Looks like it's a little bit quiet to start out here, but we'll give everybody a couple minutes to jump in. Hopefully get your notifications. Hopefully you got those set so that you know when we are all going live. But welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. It's a very Monday, I've been saying pretty much all day today, but we are gonna have some fun today. We're gonna do a really fun nail and just getting my nails ready to go here. Hello, Ellie J, how you doing? Janica, Nicole, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Let's see, who else do we got? Michelle, we got Mrs. Nosbig. Who else? You guys, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we can add a little fun to your Monday here with a really cool nail. And I gotta find my files here. What is everybody up to today? Are you guys doing nails? Are you working today? Are you on a break today? What are you guys up to? Let me know in the chat. Let me know what you're working on today. All right. Oops, I think we'll get one nail ready for today. And let's just jump right in here. Hello, hello, everybody. All right. So we've got our nail all ready to go. All right, you guys, I need to ask you all a question. Those of you that are here bright and early, did you guys all check out on our Discord to see what products and what things I'm going to be doing today? Give me a thumbs up if you did look at our Discord today to see what we're doing, or I don't want to say give me a thumbs down, but give me a thumbs down. Well, just in the chat here. Thumbs up if you saw what we're doing on Discord. Thumbs down if you didn't take a look at our Discord. I just want to see what you guys are doing. Garbage glitter, yes. Biba, did you look at our Discord? Let me know. I want to know. Mrs. Nosbig didn't look at. Okay, so you guys, the reason that I ask is because we do have a Discord server for you guys to kind of join into our community, and I always post what products and things I'm going to be using in there so that you guys always know, you have a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing on our nail. So if you haven't joined us in our Discord server, make sure that you do that. And hopefully maybe our moderators can get our link in there, but you guys join us on Discord, have some fun. There's a lot of different information that you can find there in our Discord server. Michelle says, I like the mystery. Okay. Well, if you didn't check out on our Discord what we're going to be doing today, I'm actually going to be using our garbage pile. Now, I know some of you are thinking, what the heck is a garbage pile? And I'll explain that as we go, but I'm going to show you what we've got. So I've got a really pretty glitter mix here that we're going to be using. And then I'm also going to be using some Mylar. We're going to add our Mylar into it. So what I mean, for those of you that aren't quite sure, what I mean by our garbage pile is it's a kind of a combination of all different colors. So you can see, I'll show you in my acrylic mix. So this is actually an acrylic mix, and it has all different colors, all different shapes and sizes of glitters and confettis in there. So it's really just kind of leftover glitter that gets combined. And I'll show you this a little bit more once we get into our actual nail. But just kind of wanted to give you guys a little insight as to what we're going to be working with before we jump in. All right, let's go ahead and get our prep done. We're going to prep our nail just like we do every other nail. We're going to push back those cuticles, and then we're going to grab our e-file. I'm going to change out my bit here so I've got a nice, clean, brand new sanding band. So I'm going to take that off, throw that away, and let me find a new sanding band. So I've got my little box of bands here. I'm going to grab a brand new one. I always want to make sure that I'm using a brand new sanding band, whether it's on myself, whether it's on a client, whether it's just on the trainer hand. Anytime you do a new set, you always want to make sure that you're using a good new sanding band, because that's going to have the proper amount of grit to it, and you're going to be able to do your prep and your filing properly with a new bit rather than one that's kind of worn down. Now I'm going to turn my e-file to about 5,000 RPMs. We're going to work right up around that cuticle area. Now that we pushed back the cuticle, and I know you guys, it's on a trainer hand, so it doesn't really, you know, give the same effect. But once we push back that cuticle, we want to make sure that we're removing the shine and we're removing any excess protein growth that may be stuck onto the nail. That's why we start up around that cuticle area to get all of that kind of white flaky stuff that you tend to see on there after you push back the cuticle. We're cleaning all of that off. And then we just go through just gently once over the nail to kind of break up the surface oils and give that nail just a little bit of texture. Now I want you guys to understand, actually I'm going to turn that on. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, and I know you can't really tell from on camera here, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure and really grinding away at that nail. What I'm doing, if you kind of look from the side, it's more of a feathering motion. So I'm actually kind of coming across the nail, picking up my bit, coming across, and by doing this, by kind of picking up that bit every time, it gently will prep the surface of that nail. So again, coming through, gently prepping that surface, gently removing the shine. So this way I'm not going to cause damage. I'm not going to thin out that natural nail at all. I'm just basically taking off that shiny surface. And that's really what all we're trying to do. We're just trying to, like I said, just trying to kind of break up the surface oils on that nail and create just a little bit of texture, okay? So our nail is prepped. Now we need to cleanse it. So to cleanse our nail, I am going to grab our swipe and I'm going to pump a little bit of that swipe onto my manicure brush. And then we're going to come in and we're going to scrub that nail nice and clean. Get all of that dust off of the nail. The swipe is also going to kill any germs or bacteria that may be on the nail. You can get up underneath that nail as well. And we really just want to create a nice, clean, dry surface. Okay, looks like there's a lot of questions in the chat so far. Questions about the products that I'm using, the trainer hand. You guys, everything here that I'm using is from Young Nails. So this is a Young Nails channel. I am Young Nails Director of Education. And so everything that we are using here is by Young Nails, even down to our table towels, our cuticle pusher, that's our magic wand. So all of these things that I'm using is by Young Nails, and you can find all the products here. I think our moderators have a link there in the chat for you guys. So find all of our products here at youngnails.com and learn along with us here on our YouTube channel. All right, so at this point you can see our nails back to that nice clean dry look. So we're going to take our protein bond and we're going to apply 2 coats of protein bond. Now protein bond is a bonder, it's not technically a primer. So primers tend to have what's called methacrylic acid, and our protein bond doesn't have any of that acid to it. Now if I tell you that I'm going to put acid on your fingers, you're probably going to look at me and kind of question that. And that's part of why we don't use acid in our products. We don't use that methacrylic acid because that acid can burn, itch, or irritate if you accidentally get that onto the skin. Now, even though I said we'd have a non-acid bonder, even though it doesn't have that acid to it, we still want to make sure that we're keeping that away from the cuticles, keeping that away from the skin and soft tissue. On our hard nail surface, it works just like a double-sided tape, but again, we don't want to get any chemicals on our skin. So that's why I always start towards the center of the nail, I work out to the sides, and then I work back towards that cuticle area so that I'm not getting any of that product flooding onto the skin, okay? And notice that I did apply 2 coats of our protein bond. I apply 2 coats when I'm working on an enhancement, either acrylic or hard gel, because that's going to give you the best bond for our product to the nail. Now, if you're just working on a, say maybe just a gel manicure, 1 coat is going to work just fine. But for our enhancement today, that's why we did 2. All right, let's go ahead and get our forms on. And you guys let me know in the chat, do you want to see the traditional forms or do you want to see the extra long forms today? Let me know in the chat, traditional or XL. Pop that in the chat, let me know. Because we're going to be doing a nail that is, I would say it's a little bit longer than what I've got on here, but we're not going to go crazy long today. We're going to do, I would say, a medium to a long nail. So let me know, traditional, but we're not doing both. I'll show you the traditional, extra long, traditional. All right, you guys, I guess you guys aren't really giving me much clarification. So, all right, I'll show you both. But I am going to put the extra long ones on to the nail today. But just so you guys can kind of see a little bit of the difference, let me peel this apart. I always just kind of fold over that back paper and stick my stick my forms onto the next form just so it doesn't unwind like this one did. So let me just pop that off of there. There we go. Okay, so we'll get that one out of there. So our traditional forms, the blue ones, these were kind of our original forms. Let me grab one of the red ones here too for you guys. All right, so the blue ones were kind of our traditional. We've had these for many, many years, and they are an amazing form. You're going to notice on the form it has a bold line right down the center, so that's going to kind of work as your guideline. And then it also has those center or those silver lines going across and down the nail, so that's going to also help to be kind of a guideline for you. Now, a couple of differences between our regular traditional form and our extra long. Obviously, you can see the difference in length. So if you're doing just maybe a short or an active, maybe even a long nail, that blue one is going to work great for you. If you're working on an extra long nail and you really need to build out a lot of length, definitely go with the extra long forms, okay? You can see on the extra long forms, let me come a little closer, they also have those lines across the nail and then going downward. But we also have those red lines, so if you're doing more of a stiletto shape or maybe a coffin shape, you can also use those red lines to help you create those different shapes and sculpting those different shapes, okay? Now, a couple other differences you'll notice between the blue forms and the red ones is that the blue form has a little bit more of a rounded kind of a connection point versus the red ones have a little bit more of an elongated or more of an almond kind of a shape. Well, I guess not an almond shape. We'll just say an elongated kind of a shape. And that the purpose of that is to help when you're putting a form on. Let me show you how to put the forms on, and I'll kind of talk you through it. So I always take out that little tab out of the center, and then this area is what's going to go right up underneath the nail. So it's going to go underneath here. Now you can see on this nail, let me turn this a little bit, I could get that form. Let me actually just pinch this together. We're going to pinch the two little silver tabs together here on the sides. Get those together nice and even. And then our form is going to go right up underneath that natural nail. Now you can see this one, it actually fits that curve pretty well. So the curve of the form is going to fit kind of up underneath the shape of that natural nail. Okay. Now with our XL forms, these are a little bit more elongated. So maybe if you have a client with maybe a little bit more, let me create one on here really quick. So maybe if you have a client that has a little bit more of an elongated smile line, something more like that, or if they have an extended hyponychium. And what I mean by extended hyponychium is if their hyponychium grows out a little bit longer and stays attached to that natural nail as it grows out, you may want to use something more elongated like the red form. Still put our little tab on the back. We still pinch those tabs together. But with the elongated edge here, that's actually going to fit around that, oops, let me open this up on top. That's going to fit around that extended hyponychium or that elongated smile line a little bit easier. So it's going to go right up underneath there without it pushing back into that skin underneath. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you need more information on how to customize forms, we have over 3,000 videos here on our YouTube channel for you, and we've got some great videos on how to customize your forms. So make sure to check those out if you need more information on how to customize your forms. But for today, I think we're going to use the red forms. I think we're going to go with that. Now, we're not going to be doing an extra long nail today. We're going to be doing a little bit more of, I'm going to say just a longer nail, not an XL. So we're going to just pinch that form down just a little bit shorter, creating a little bit more of a shorter long. We'll say a shorter long nail today, okay? Now, I'm also going to clip off the end of that pinched form just to make sure it doesn't get in my way. And then we'll open this up. I got a little bit of fuzz on there. We'll open this up. We'll get this right up underneath that natural nail, kind of starting at a slight downward angle. And then I'm going to rock that form right up so that it comes flush up underneath that natural nail. I'm going to secure it down on the sides. We'll take a quick look from the side here. Now you guys, I want you to take a look here. Do you see how the angle of the form is just slightly angled downward? I'm going to pinch that a little bit shorter on the end, but I want you to watch what happens. Do you see how the light is reflecting right along here? That's going to be kind of like your guide. So I'm going to show you here really quick. So if I kind of line up my little orange wood stick here right along with that light reflection, I can see that my nail is going to start to kind of point downward. So again, that light reflection is going to be where we're putting our product, and that's going to be our lower arch. Now, if that lower arch is angling down a little bit, you're going to get a little bit more of kind of a bird beak looking nail. So I'm actually going to pinch my form a little bit shorter because we're going to create a little bit of a shorter nail. And now by just pinching that just a little bit, it raised up that lower arch a little bit on the side. So if you're going to go a little bit shorter, just note that start with your form angled down just a little bit. And then when you pinch it, it's actually going to raise up that kind of light reflection right on the side there. Okay. Now, if you're not going to go any shorter, then make sure that your form is coming a little bit more straight out when you first put that on. So again, that light reflection is coming straight out from the finger and it's not angling downward. Okay. All right, you guys, give me a little thumbs up in the chat if that made sense to you, or if that's something that you already automatically do and automatically know. Just give me a little thumbs up in the chat. I want to see what you guys are thinking. All right, so we are going to create an extension, and let me grab my Dappen dish. I think I've got a little old monomer in there. I do. As you can see, I've got some old monomer in there. It's got a little bit of glitter still left in there from my last application. So I always want to make sure that I'm cleaning that out and starting with fresh monomer. Awesome, you guys. I'm seeing some thumbs up in the chat, so that helps me to know that what I'm teaching you is making sense. So that's fantastic. All right, so I'm just cleaning out my Dappen dish here. I just took a little, just one of our table towels that I've cut up into a smaller piece, put that down in there, and I'm just using my orange wood stick. You could use your cuticle pusher, your magic wand, just enough to kind of clean out that old monomer, soak that up, and clean out any little bits of glitter that might still be in there. So I always want to start with fresh, clean monomer. That way you're going to get really good application. You're going to be able to pick up really good pearls of acrylic that way. So I'm going to grab my new bottle here, and we'll take our brush. And when I pour my monomer, let me come back out here so you can see what I'm doing. I always take my brush, touch that to the top of my bottle, and then I pour my monomer down the brush. This way it's not going to spill or dribble down the sides of my bottle or the Dappen dish or anything like that. Okay? Just a quick little easy trick to help you guys out. All right, so we've got our nail prepped and ready to go. We've got our form on there, and we've got our speed clear. So speed clear is what I'm going to start with today, and we're going to build out a platform. Now we're going to just bring this out onto our form. Actually, let me grab a few more table towels here. You guys, I like to have my table towels cut up like this because this way I can have a little stack there on my table, and as I work, if that top one gets a little bit saturated with my acrylic, then the liquid, I can just take that off and have a new clean fresh place to wipe my brush. So for me, I love to do that. It's just nice and quick and easy, makes my life a little bit easier. All right, so we're going to pick up our speed clear. Let me come in a little closer so you can see here. There we go. All right, and we're going to just create a platform on our form here to extend our product or extend that nail. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a pearl. I'm going to just drain out some of that extra liquid from my brush. And what this is going to do is when I put that pearl onto the nail or onto the form, it's not going to run. By draining out that little bit of extra liquid, it brings my product a little bit more to a clay-like form. So that way, again, it's not going to run, it's not going to flow everywhere down the form, and I've got a little bit more control as to where I'm putting the product. So I started by just kind of pressing that product in the center, working that out to the sides, and then using the edge of my brush to bring that in on the sides to kind of straighten out those lower arches. And notice that I keep walking my brush across the nail to keep my product kind of the same thickness all the way through that nail. So all the way across. Just kind of tucking in on those sides. We're going to make a tapered square, maybe not quite a coffin, but a little bit more of a tapered, kind of a tapered nail. Now, as I get to this point, I'm just going to kind of blend that product out to the end. And I want to make sure that I'm kind of pressing in all the way through that C curve so that I don't have a lot of excess bulk down here in the corners. I want that to kind of blend out and have it nice and thin rather than having a big kind of a thick edge right through here and then thin right through the middle. I hope that makes sense. But again, start in the center, kind of pressing to the sides so that it contours that whole nail surface all the way through. Okay, let me show you from the free edge. That might make a little bit more sense. So when I'm pressing out my product here, there we go. I want to make sure it's nice and thin all the way down through the sides down on here. I don't want to just press that flat and have extra bulk up here. If I had a little bit too much bulk on my sides and it was nice and thin here, when I put my glitter or my color over the top, chances are if it's bulky on the sides, I'm going to file off and file into my glitter. Okay, so make sure that you're keeping everything nice and thin all the way through. So the same thickness or thinness all the way through, contouring your brush as you go. Okay, now we're going to be doing a smile line. And you guys, I'm gonna look and see what color I think is gonna be best. I chose two different of our cover colors today. I've got Cover Flamingo and Cover Morganite. This is actually one of our newer products. And I'm gonna use those, but I wanna kind of see how it's gonna look. So what I'm gonna use for the rest of our nail is our garbage pile. Now, you guys, it's not garbage. I know you guys hear me say garbage pile and you think you're going to throw that away. No. But what this is a beautiful custom mix that nobody else is ever going to be able to create. And you guys want to know why nobody is going to be able to create this? Because what this glitter mixture is it's all of my little leftovers. So you guys, if you've been watching our YouTube lives here, a lot of times you see me mix colors, you mix glitters and things like that. Well, what do we do with the leftover glitter? This is exactly what we do with the leftover glitter. We don't throw it in the garbage, so it's really not garbage. But what we can do is all of those last little bits of glitter or colored acrylics that you mix up, that can go into one container as your garbage pile, okay? So again, I can't remember what designs I've done with these, but you can see this glitter mixture. This one was actually a bunch of our, this was Waterfall, High Tide, and Sea Spray. So that's what I have in that one. I've got another mixture over here. This one's got, oh, that's got a little bit more kind of a brown copper. It actually has some of the glitters, I think, from in here. But we got that one. And then our third one, this was actually, I think this one was also a combination of that High Tide, Sea Spray, and Waterfall, but then I added some other fun confettis or fun glitters into that. So again, you guys, what I've got here is not necessarily enough to do another full set. So instead of throwing those away, I'm going to take my garbage pile, and I just have an old acrylic container for this. I'm just going to pour those in. And this is, again, our garbage pile, but I'm not wasting it. So I'm going to cap that back up. I'm going to give that a good shake, mix that all together. Somebody says it's not garbage, but recycled. You know what? I like that. I like how you're thinking because it really isn't. You guys, you don't want to be throwing away your product. And I know a lot of times you guys, you see us do our demos and things and you think we're wasting all of this product, but it's not wasting. First of all, it's educating is what we're doing here. But this is really what I do in salon if I have extra product after I've maybe custom mixed a color for my client. So now that is all mixed in there. So let's take a look and see what our color is that we're going to be using. So that is a really pretty little bit of pink to it. And you guys, this is actually going to be kind of fun for maybe Valentine's coming up because there is a lot of pink in there. So you can kind of, as you're adding different colors to your garbage pile, custom mixes that you made for your clients, you're going to start to see, like during some holidays, maybe around like Valentine's Day, like we're at now, you may be doing some more custom mixing in your dishes that have maybe more reds and pinks to them. And then when you add that to your garbage pile, you're going to have more of a red or pink tone to it. So I tell you guys, throughout the year, this is going to change. And this is why I say you're never going to be able to customize and create this exact color again, because you have all of your different colors, all of your different glitters in there, and there's no way to ever completely recreate this. So this is kind of a fun option for your clients in salon. If they want something that nobody else is ever going to have, they're going to be able to choose your garbage pile. Okay, so again, this is the color that we've got that we're going to be working with today. So I am going to take a look and see what color I want for my smile line. And I chose my two colors here that I think were going to look good, Cover Flamingo and Cover Morganite. Let's start with Cover Morganite because, like I said, this is a newer color that we've got. And I kind of wanted to use this one, but I'm not quite sure if the tone of this one is going to be ideal with this glitter mixture, but you never know. So let's take a quick look. And you guys, this is definitely something that I do with clients as well, so that they can kind of see what the combinations are going to look like. Now you guys, on camera, it looks a little bit more brown, kind of taupey color. It's really not quite that dark. But let's check the Cover Flamingo, because I think the Cover Flamingo is probably what I'm going to use here today. It's got a little bit more of a little bit more pinky kind of a tone to it. So let's take a look there. All right. All right, you guys, I know which one I want to choose, but let me know in the chat. Do you want the Cover Morganite? You can just put a Cover M. You can put Cover M or M in the chat. Or do you want Flamingo, the little bit more pinker one? Let me know in the chat. Which one do you think is going to look better with our garbage pile? Cover Morganite or Cover Flamingo? Let me know. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. All right, Flamingo, Morganite, Flamingo, Flamingo, Flamingo. All right, lots of flamingos. You guys, you're right on track with me. I'm thinking that that Cover Flamingo is going to look better with the kind of that pinker tone to our glitter. So yes, I'm going to go with that. Thank you for helping me make that choice. Somebody was asking, did I custom mix this glitter? And I did not custom mix this today, but this is my garbage pile. So this is colors that are left over from a lot of other times that I've done custom mixes, and then I just pour my little extras and the remaining into one jar. So this is my garbage pile for today. All right, so we've got our nail. We've built out that extension, so that's actually pretty ready to go. That's pretty set up. If I need to, I can still pinch in a little bit of a tighter C-curve, but I think we're good for now, okay? Now, we are going to be doing a smile line. So you guys, sometimes when I'm working with my smile lines, I tend to maybe kind of do a little bit of a warm-up. So what I mean by a warm-up is I'm going to kind of check my temperature of my room. So I'm actually going to pick up a pearl, and we're just going to kind of see how this flows, because when you're working with, especially when you're doing your smile lines, you want to make sure your product is going to flow properly. So I kind of pick up a pearl and I just start to, sorry you guys, you got to see what's going on here. I start to kind of observe how that pearl is reacting. Now, you kind of see that when you pick up that pearl, I'm going to show you here one more time. If I pick that up, you can see a little bit of texture to that surface. Now I want to get to a point where it's not quite so textured and it almost kind of smooths out to a smooth pearl look, which is what you're starting to see at this point. Now, if I picked up a pearl and maybe my room was a little colder than I thought it was, what can happen is if I pick up that pearl, and I'm going to over exaggerate, do you see how it's instantly smooth like that? That means that it's either too wet, which is probably too wet, or it's going to run too fast. And I don't want my product to run too fast. I want it to flow, but I don't want it to run. So I kind of just gauge how my product is picking up. And that way I'll kind of know a little bit more how it's going to react when I put it onto the finger. Now, when we're doing a smile line, you guys, I'm going to show you this on another nail here because it happens pretty quickly. And this is another chance for me to kind of get a feel for my product as well. But I'm going to pick up a pearl, and when we're doing our smile lines, what I want to happen, I'm just going to hold that pearl just for a few seconds, just to kind of observe it, let it kind of polymerize just a little bit, and then I'm going to set it onto the nail. Now, as we put our product on for that smile line, I'm going to kind of tuck in my cuticle area, And then I'm going to angle that finger straight down. You guys, not angled like this, but literally straight down. So this way my product is going to run and flow down the length of the nail. When I lift up, you can see I've already got pretty much that smile line into place, okay? This way I can come in and I can kind of touch up those sides, perfect those sides, but I didn't really have to do a lot of work. All I really did was press out that cuticle area, angle the finger down, let that product flow into that really nice smile line. Now, if I pick up a pearl that's too dry, I'm not going to get that proper flow. So let me pick up another one. I'll kind of, actually, let me just do this. I'm going to pick up a pearl and then I'm going to drain out some of that extra liquid so you can really see. So if I drain out some of that liquid and I set my pearl on, first of all, it kind of stuck to my brush, but as I'm pressing that out, if I angle that down, it's going to flow a little bit, but it's not going to flow as much as I need it to, okay? So you kind of have to keep an eye on your product. Now, if I was doing a shorter nail, this actually would be a little bit more of a perfect smile line for that length. But we're doing a longer nail, so I do want my product to flow just a little bit more, okay? I'm going to take off my top table towel there, get a clean place to wipe my brush here. So let's grab our pearl and we'll actually set that onto the nail. Now you guys, the reason that I created my extension here is because I am going to maybe elongate that smile line just a little bit, and I want that product to come down onto that, that clear extension rather than having kind of a drop down onto my form. So just a couple of little ideas here for you guys. All right, so let's pick up our pearl. So I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to wait a few seconds, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think at 6 we're looking good. I'm going to set that right down, set that down, press on my cuticle, and then start to angle that finger downward. And again, straight down. Now, can I help that along the way? Yes, I can kind of use my brush, kind of touch that, tap that into place, but I'm really just letting that product kind of flow. I see it's kind of flowing off to one side. I'm going to tip that on the side just a little bit to get it to flow to the other. And then once that is where I want it, I can lift up. So again, you guys, you can see I didn't really have a lot of work to do. I just kind of let that product flow on its own. Now I'm going to use my brush and use the edge of my brush to just kind of tuck in on those sides and perfect that smile line a little bit more. So maybe if it was running off to one side, I can kind of push in on the other side, even that out a little bit, and make this as perfect as I can. And you guys, with the cover powders, those are a little bit more of a medium setting product. So you do have a good amount of time to really get your product into place and kind of tuck in those sides, tuck in those edges, get everything nice and sharp. Now, if you don't get your smile line perfect, you can always go back with your hand file and kind of readjust that once it sets. But when I'm working with the cover powders, most of the time I'm able to get a pretty good smile line without actually having to go back and touch that up. Now, if you are a beginner or if you are somebody who maybe you don't do smile lines a lot, you may need to go back and touch that up. But you can still see that I've got some time to be working with my product and really perfecting that, tucking in those edges, tucking in those sides. Now, if we take a look from the side view, do you see how that product, there's kind of a wall right here. So it's just kind of a ledge that it just drops down. I've got enough thickness right here through my stress area, but then it drops down here so that I can fill in the rest of my extension with our garbage pile glitter. And then I still have room to be able to cap over the top of that and seal that with our clear. So you want to make sure that you are getting that good drop down. Now you guys, let me show you one other thing. I just want to make sure my smile line is right where I want it. I think we're good there. Now, something that I want you guys to make sure when you are creating those smile lines like this, you want to make sure that you're actually getting that drop down. And I'm going to kind of, let me see if I can over exaggerate this maybe just a little bit. Just drain out a little bit. So when you're putting your pearl on and you're creating that smile line, and just let that flow just a little bit. So what you want or what you don't want to happen is, I'm going to just kind of bring this out just a little bit. What you don't want, and you can't quite see it, but what you don't want to happen is you don't want to have this rounded edge there. Now it's starting to kind of level out. Let me come in a little bit closer. Do you see the difference between this one, how this edge here, right at our smile line here, where that's kind of rounded, whereas on this one, you see you have more of a ledge. You actually have a drop down rather than kind of that rolling off, okay? This is really important because when you're doing smile lines, if you have that product kind of rolling down the edge like this, rather than having that actual wall of acrylic, what's gonna happen is whoops, that's gonna happen. Your product isn't going to get that really good crisp smile line, okay? So you want to make sure that you are kind of tucking in around those edges, creating kind of a ledge all the way around, okay? All right, we've got our smile line in there. Let's grab our garbage pile. And again, our garbage pile was a combination of all of our leftover glitters from a few different clients, and this is what we're working with. Now, when I'm working with my garbage pile, I have a lot of different textures to this, so I kind of have to keep that in mind when I'm putting my product on. You see these, I'm going to pick up a few here. So these bigger pieces, these bigger kind of chunkier confetti type glitters, I want to make sure that I'm not trying to put those all the way back up into this corner, okay? These bigger pieces, let me grab one of these here, aren't necessarily going to fit very well up into that corner, okay? And you may end up filing them off. So when I'm working, especially up into these little corners, I tend to grab a little bit more of the finer glitter and the finer mixture, so that way I can get a really good solid coverage all the way up into those corners, okay? All right, let's go ahead and we'll get our color here. Oh, one other thing, you guys, I'm going to also grab my Mylars because I want to add a little bit more to this, just because I do. And same thing with the Mylar, you guys. You can kind of see I keep my Mylars in a little container like this, and I have them separated. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pick some out. You know, if I'm working on a client, I'm going to say, maybe I like that color, maybe I like that color, maybe we'll add a little bit of that in here. And this is going to be my Mylar garbage pile. It's just a mix of all of my different colors, but again, I'm not going to throw this away because I can reuse this. So I'm just going to have that custom mix, that extra garbage pile of my Mylar right next to me here as well. So we're going to use some of our acrylic, we're going to use some of our Mylar, and we're going to create a beautiful nail. Now, let me come back out. Well, we'll start with the glitter, and then I'll show you the Mylar. But I want you guys to be able to see this really nice and close. So again, I'm going to grab a pearl of my glitter, and that one I'm going to drain out just a tiny little bit. I don't want it to flow too much, but I'm going to turn my brush around. I'm going to blend that right back up to that smile line. Now, you guys, those of you that are maybe new to doing smile lines, you're looking at this nail and you're thinking, well, she's putting glitter up over the smile line. I thought we were trying to create a smile line. And we are. Anything that gets up over the top of that smile line, anything that gets up on top of here, it's all going to file out. So I don't have to worry about any of that glitter that's getting up over the top. What I do want to make sure, though, is that I'm just going to kind of fade this out just a little bit. But I want to make sure that I'm getting that glitter right up to that smile line. And then you can kind of see over in this corner here. Again, do you see how I've got that bigger piece of glitter? I think that one's going to be okay. Anything larger than that is probably going to file off. Now I'm going to pick up a smaller pearl. So just a little tiny piece right like that. Actually, I'm going to drain that out just a little bit onto my towel. And then I'm going to set that right down in there. I want to make sure that I'm getting that glitter all the way back up into that corner so that I don't have that little edge missing when I go to do my filing. Okay, so making sure that I get that glitter right up into that corner. Do the same, we'll check on the side here. Same thing. And again, pick up just a tiny little pearl here, maybe drain out some of that extra liquid. And I'm going to tuck that again right into that corner. There was a little bit of a larger piece of glitter. I'm going to take that one off. I don't want that one to file out. Okay, now, you guys, just so you guys can see, I'm going to take my form off because that clear underneath is set. So I want you guys to see a little bit better idea of what this is going to start to look like. Now, if you like this nail just like this, where it kind of fades out, that glitter just fades out a little bit, you could definitely leave that nail like it is and then just cap over the surface, but I'm going to fill this in. But just to kind of give you guys options so that you can kind of see, if you feel like maybe you wanted to kind of fade that out just a little bit more, again, you could pick up another small pearl, tap that right through there and just kind of blend out. So again, you can see you've got options. You could have just that kind of ombre out of that glitter. But let's go ahead and grab a little bit more of our glitter, and then I'm going to add in some of the Mylar right on top of that. So I'm going to grab a nice size pearl of my glitter, set that down in there. I'm going to kind of blend that out to the end. Now you guys, you want to make sure that you're keeping these layers very thin still, because we still need some space to add clear over the top. So just kind of pressing that nice and thin. And then I'm going to grab some of those Mylars from my little Mylar garbage pile, and I'm just going to set those right down into that wet acrylic. So just kind of tapping down into the Mylar and then again setting them onto that wet acrylic. Now I'm just going to kind of press those down in there. I may even turn my brush around, use my handle to really kind of set those little pieces of Mylar onto the nail. And again, just kind of picking up bits and pieces. Now if back here my product has already started to set, I can grab a small pearl of the Speed Clear, and so just a small pearl of the Speed Clear, and just kind of brush that through just to kind of re-wet that surface. Again, not trying to build up any structure, but just to kind of re-wet that surface so my Mylar is going to stick. And just kind of setting those pieces wherever I think I want them. And I think we're going to be good with that. All right, maybe that one was a little bit too big and too chunky. We'll take that one off. We don't need that one on there. Or maybe he's going to go right. No, we're going to take that off. You guys, sometimes as you're working, you may decide that you want a little bit more here and there. And I actually think I want just a little bit more right up here. So I'm going to take, again, just another teeny tiny pearl of that Speed Clear. Just kind of dab that right down in there. And maybe just a couple of just little pieces of that Mylar. Set that right in there. Okay, I think I like how that one is. And again, you guys, as I work, I do kind of turn that finger so I can see how the light is reflecting. This way I can tell, do I need to add a little bit more over here or maybe over here? But again, by just turning that finger, you can see how that light reflects on there. Okay. All right, so we've got our garbage piles on our nail. Now, if we take another look, again, I'm going to take off that dirty towel. We'll get a clean one here. But if we take a look from the side, do you see how we still have our arch kind of built up right up to here? And that's nice and thick. Now we need to kind of bring up our the rest of the structure, and we need to cap that nail. We need to seal in our acrylic. We need to seal in that glitter and all of that Mylar. So we're going to add a little bit more of our Speed Clear. Now, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think it's a little white button. I thought it was the red one, but maybe that's for a little bit later. But make sure you hit that subscribe button, join our channel here, stick with us and get free education. All right, I'm going to grab some of our Speed Clear. We're going to pick up a pretty good sized pearl of this. This one I'm going to drain just a little bit of that liquid out. I'm going to turn my brush around again, blend that back up to my smile line, blend that back up into those corners up there, kind of pivoting my brush on the side. And then I'm going to press that product and we're going to blend this down through the rest of the free edge. So just kind of pressing and pulling down towards the end of the nail. And then I'm just going to kind of feather through that, make sure everything is nice and smooth. Now I'm going to blend backwards just a little bit to kind of pull some of that product back up into that arch again. And I think I still need just a little bit more of that clear right up into these corners. So again, we'll grab another small pearl. Same thing, I'm going to drain out just a little bit of that, turn on the side, blend that back. Again, pivoting my brush on the edge here so that I'm not brushing that product onto the skin, but just right up into that corner. Okay, so you guys, when I say I pivot my brush, that means I'm turning my brush so it's flat here. I pivot so that I can use more of that wedge right down into these corners. I'm not coming all the way through like this. If I were to brush through like this, that's going to start to touch the client's skin. I don't want to be touching that product or that wet brush to their skin. So I'm going to pivot my brush so that I'm using more of that wedge right along those edges. Okay. All right, same thing though. We're going to pick up another small little pearl here, pivot right into that corner, blend that out. I'm going to blend this back just a tiny little bit right back up in there, just making sure everything is capped and sealed. And I think I need just one more little pearl right down on that free edge to really make sure all of that glitter on my free edge is sealed in as well. So again, one more small little pearl, drain that out. I'm going to set that right at that free edge. I'm going to blend that backwards again, just kind of blending that product back up into that stress area, back up into that arch. Now, if I need to, then I can come back through, press that out, making sure everything is nice and even all the way across. Okay. And maybe just one more blend back. So now we can see we've got that really good structure. We've got a nice thin and tapered cuticle area. We've got a little bit of thickness right through our stress area. Don't worry, you guys, we're going to file a little bit of this out, so it's not going to be quite such a high arch. But again, when we file, any of that product that came up over the surface of it, it's all going to file off, okay? But then we have our product just kind of flowing right down to a nice thin free edge, all right? So we're going to let this set up for a little bit. Now remember, underneath that first layer is already set, and that's where we pinched in that, that nice tight C curve. So now with this nail, we're going to have a really nice curve. Let me see if I can adjust this. But we're going to have a really nice C curve throughout that underneath side, that C curve into that coffin shape or that kind of tapered square nail. Okay. Now, you guys, I'm going to show you something else as that's drying. Something else that I do is the garbage pile that I was using today. This is all my product that is mixed in with acrylic. So if I customize a glitter acrylic mix for my clients, that goes into here. But I also do have just straight glitter mixes that I use. So again, same kind of a thing. If I have, let's just do we'll do a quick little glitter mix here, you guys. I don't know what I'm just grabbing a couple of different colors here. And I don't know, here we go. All right. So if we were to do just a glitter mix, you guys, I don't know what I grabbed here right now. I just grabbed a couple of different things off my shelf. So if we were customizing a glitter mix for our client, and maybe just using this with gel, or maybe we're just kind of placing it onto, onto the nail. And I didn't actually mix this with acrylic. This one, I would actually save in a different container. So this one, this is just my glitter. So just glitter, there's no acrylic in that. This one I would save in a separate container that doesn't have acrylic in it, okay? So I've got my garbage pile for glitter, and I've got my garbage pile for acrylic, okay? Now, if you are somebody who uses gels, I do have my gel garbage pile. So let me see if this one, let's see what we got here. So this one is all of my extra gel combinations that I've mixed, or my glitter combinations that I've mixed with my hard gel. So you guys, whatever product you're using, you can mix and match, and you can save all of your products so that you're not throwing it away, okay? All right, let me close a few things up here. Let me clean out my brush, and then by that point, our product should be set here. But you guys, notice that as I work, I always do kind of clean up as I go. This way I don't have a whole lot of product or things sitting on my table that I could potentially knock over or spill. So I really think it's important to close up all of your liquids and powders when you're not using them, especially your monomer, you guys. I get a lot of questions, and there's a lot of talk about, keeping your monomer to a minimum, or that smell in your salon to a minimum. We do have our extreme low odor acrylic, and that is fantastic, but it's still a chemical. So you still want to make sure that whatever product you're using, you always keep that closed up as tightly as you can. So that way you aren't going to be having any of that smell kind of coming up into your breathing zone. So as soon as you're done with your product, clean out your brush just like I did here. And I wipe that down. And then make sure to cap your acrylic. So again, it's going to keep that smell to a minimum. Now, something else you guys want to make sure that you're doing, all of these table towels that you have used and you've wiped your brush on, they have monomer on them. So you want to make sure that you're throwing those away. And again, pretty soon after you're done. You don't want those just sitting on your station, but you want to make sure that you're throwing those away into a into a closed garbage can. Don't just use an open garbage can, because that smell and that chemical is still going to be in the air. So using a really good garbage can that's going to seal, that's going to help you to keep those chemical smells to a minimum. Okay. All righty. Let's take a look here. Looks like our nail is set. I think we're good there, you guys. And what I'm doing is just kind of listening to hear that click. If I'm just using my brush to tap this, or my nail, if you're hearing that sharp click, that means that your product is set. If you're hearing more of kind of a dull thud, or if it feels soft, it's not quite set. Just give it a little bit longer to set up, and then you can start your filing. All right, I'm going to grab my X-Cut carbide. You guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that little subscribe button, join our community, get all this great free education. All right, now I've got my dust collector turned on here. I'm going to turn my E-file to about 15,000 RPM since I'm working with acrylic. Come in a little closer for you to see. And I'm going to start by just straightening out my sidewalls. So just coming straight down on those sides, and notice I'm balancing on the other side. This way it's going to keep that nail from kind of wobbling back and forth. So again, just pulling straight down that side. I'm going to push back on the other side, still balancing, still keeping that nail stable. Pushing back, and then we're going to turn and we're going to look at the lower arch. I'm going to straighten this out, and it's pretty straight, but I do want to make sure that my product isn't hanging down. Now what I mean by that is, if I take a look, do you see where I'm lining up my orange wood stick? Okay, if I put that orange wood stick, let me come out just a little bit. If I put that orange wood stick straight in line with that lower arch, do you see where that orange wood stick is going? It's actually, I might turn this on the side a little bit more. Now, my lower arch looks like it's coming straight out, but it's actually angled down. Do you see how that angle of my orange wood stick is going upward? We want that lower arch to be coming straight out from that natural nail. So now let me come in a little bit closer here. So pretty much everything that my orange wood stick is covering up, that needs to get filed off so that I know my lower arch is coming straight out. Okay, so again, it looks like it's straight, but if we just line that up, it's going up at an angle. Sorry, you guys, I'm trying to do that one-handed. But again, it's going up at an angle, and we want it to come straight out. Okay, so that's where we're going to do our filing. And let me come in a little bit more here. So we're going to take our lower arch, we're going to get that so that it's coming straight out from that natural nail. And I'm just taking product off more so from the free edge to kind of even that out. I'm not worrying too much back here, but just taking that up a little bit more from that free edge. And I think we're going to be a little bit straighter out from there. Now, same thing on the other side, but this time I'm just going to pull that bit down, taking off anything that's hanging from that free edge. Okay. Now we're going to straighten out our free edge. We're going to do a little bit more of that kind of tapered square or coffin shape. So I'm going to start on my left side and just run that bit right through straight across. And that's going to either shorten it up or it's going to straighten it out. If you need to take more product off, you can always take a little bit more off. But I think we're good there. So let's come to the surface. I'm going to work right up around my cuticle area, tapering in that cuticle area just a little bit. And because of my brush angle when I was applying that, it is fairly thin, but we do want to kind of thin that out, making sure that's a little bit more flush down to the natural nail. And then I'm going to work just down the center of this nail. I'm not trying to come all the way from side to side. I'm just working right through that arch, all the way down to the free edge, making sure my product is just kind of flowing. Okay, so now if we take a look, I think maybe just a little bit more, because at that point I wasn't quite coming through to that smile line. So that shows that I can take down a little bit more of that bulk. So we'll take down a little bit of that thickness right through that center area. All right, now if we take a look at it, now I'm really starting to see that crisp smile line starting to show through. I'm gonna look straight down the barrel, and right there. And I'm gonna, now at this point, I've taken down my bulk through here, so I don't need to do much more filing right through here, but I do need to take down that bulk right on those sides. So here's where I'm just gonna pull my bit straight through, taking down that bulk, come over to my right side, pull straight through, taking down that bulk. So now I'm just kind of trying to even out those sides with what I cut down through that center. Okay. Just going to pull all the way through. And now that I've got kind of the majority of that bulk taken down on those sides, I'm just going to flow all the way through from one side, all the way up, all the way over to my other side, and just really contouring and kind of connecting both of those sides all the way through. Okay, I'm going to turn and look one more time from the side view. I usually like to look one more time just to make sure, because now that I can see all the way through that structure, I can see if I need to take down any more product from anywhere else. And again, you guys, I'm still not going all the way from side to side. I actually keep my finger positioned on the side, so if I do get too close to the side down here, I'm actually going to bump my own finger. So if I kind of show you from this view, this is how I'm holding my finger. My finger's positioned right on the side. So if I bring my bit too far over, it's going to come in contact with my own finger so that I know I'm not going to wrap my bit around and catch. Okay? All right, I think we're good there. Now, if I look on my nail here, I can see that this side is still hanging just a little bit lower than the other side. So I'm going to come back in here. We're going to take that up just a little bit more because I want both of those lower arches to be hanging at about the same level. So that leveled it out just a little bit more. I'll clean up the rest of that with my hand file. But before I go to my hand file, I do like to switch back to my sanding band. And I use this to kind of refine just a little bit more, especially up around that cuticle area and along those side walls. This bit works really nice to help just kind of perfect that all the way up around that cuticle area. So again, it's going to be nice and flush down to that natural nail. Okay, same thing on the other side. And then again, just kind of flowing all the way through that structure, making sure everything is as smooth as I can get it before I go in with my hand file. Whoops, you guys, I just popped my finger out. There we go, pop that back in. All right, I am gonna straighten out my sides here just a little bit more. Now, when I'm working with my sanding band, it doesn't have that sharp edge that the X-Cut does, so I feel like I can always get just a little bit closer up there on my sides, even there with my lower arch, with that sanding band rather than with my X-Cut carbide. So just another little trick to make your filing a little bit easier. Okay. All right, now that we've got the majority of our filing done, I am going to go to my 150 grit hand file, and we're going to start just by straightening out those edges, keeping my file straight in line with the finger right through here. All I should be seeing is that blue line down the center of my file. If I start to kind of angle my file out and see all of that gray side of my file, that means that I'm cutting into those corners. I want to make sure that I'm keeping that file straight on the edge so that I'm not cutting into those corners. Okay. So straighten out the sides here, straighten out my left side. I'm still using my fingers to balance so that nail is not going to be wobbling back and forth. I'm going to straighten out my free edge a little bit. I'm going to check my lower arches, again making sure that these are coming straight out from that natural nail, just like I showed you before with that orange wood stick. We want to make sure that they're coming straight out. Check our other side here, again making sure that's coming straight out. And I think we're pretty good there. I'm going to come up around my cuticle area. Let me come back out a little bit, as you can see. Coming up around my cuticle area and then contouring down along these edges here. So when you're filing straight on the sides here, you're actually putting kind of a corner. And we want to make sure that we're rounding out that corner so everything is nice and smooth and rounded over that sidewall and the surface. Okay. Same thing on our right side here. Take that in just a little bit more, round my corner, or sorry, around my cuticle, round out that corner down at that free edge. And then I'm going to turn that nail on the side so we can start to see that really nice arch in there. But I think I've got a little bit of thickness right through here. Let me see if I can come in. So I've got a little bit of thickness right through here that I don't necessarily need. So I'm going to turn my file around, and one more time back out here. I'm going to file backwards and just kind of tapering in my free edge and taking down a little bit more of that bulk right through here. Now you guys, when I'm filing from this direction, let me see if I can give you a better angle. I'm not actually filing with my file flat like this. I'm at a slight upward angle, so I'm filing back here so that I'm not filing the bulk out of my stress area. I am filing the bulk through that free edge. So that's how you're going to get that really nice, thin, tapered free edge, but still keeping your proper stress area where it should be. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do before we get our shiny top coat on, or before we get to those steps anyways, I'm going to turn the client's hand around and I'm going to check my shaping from this view. I want to make sure that everything is looking nice and straight from this angle, and because this is the angle that my client is going to look at her nails. This is how she's going to see them. Okay, so I'm checking my shaping, my left side, my right side, my free edge, and then I'm going to look backwards down the barrel of the nail. Let's see, there we go. And I'm just going to flow my file all the way through, all the way up and over to really make sure everything has a nice contour to it. I'm not just picking at little sections. By flowing your file all the way through that nail, everything is going to come out nice and smooth and nice and even. By just kind of doing those short little picking strokes, that will actually put little flat spots everywhere you don't want them. So just flowing my file all the way through. I'm going to take a look. I think we are good to go there. All right. I think we're good. So let's turn that nail back around. Let me turn my dust collector off here. You guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Show our channel some love here today. We appreciate it. Love to see those subscriptions. And let's dust off our nail. And if you know what time it is, you know what time it is. So go ahead and start our top coat chant in the chat. If you're new to our channel, after you subscribe, then you can do our top coat chant in the chat, and we just put a little top coat, top coat, top coat into the chat. So join in on that. To finish our nail, I'm going to use my swipe, same product that I was using previously. We're going to cleanse this nail, get all of that dust cleaned off of there, get all of that cleaned up. Let me come in a little closer so now you can kind of start to see. Looks like I've got a little bit of glitter right up where I don't want it. Let me see if I can catch that last little bit. There we go, right through that corner. All right, so nice and clean through there. I think we are ready for top coat. So I'm going to grab my protein bond. We're going to do one more coat of protein bond, and this is going to really help to allow our top coat to adhere really well. So we're going to do a coat of our top coat, or sorry, coat of our protein bond. And you guys notice I didn't do any buffing on this nail. When you're using a gel top coat, you don't need to buff, and you actually generally don't want to buff, because buffing can create too smooth of a surface for your top coat to adhere to. So that's where protein bond comes in. It's going to help to really adhere your top coat. And we're going to grab our ultimate finish top coat. You guys, you can use whatever top coat you prefer. I do like the ultimate finish because it is a nice smooth top coat. It goes on super easy, and then there is no tacky surface to wipe off once you're done. So it's a tack-free top coat. You don't have to worry about cleansing. Once it's cured, it is cured and it's ready to go and let your client walk out that door. So we're just going to top coat this. I'm going to cure this in the light, and a full cure is going to be 60 seconds. But you guys, today I'm probably just going to pop this in the light, maybe for 20-30 seconds or so. And that way you guys can get a chance to hit that subscribe button, and then I'll show you the final look. But I just, again, 30 seconds is a freezing cure to kind of set that into place so I can show you the final look. but fully cured is 60 seconds. So make sure that whatever top coat you're using, that you do use that or do cure that fully for the 60 seconds, okay? All right, guys, one last chance to hit that subscribe button before I show you the final look here. And I think that's in there long enough. So again, 30 seconds to freeze it, 60 seconds to fully cure. Let me come in there. All right, you guys, what do you think of the garbage pile? Did that come out pretty good? And you guys, I'm telling you, camera doesn't do these colors justice, but as I turn that nail, you can kind of see that Mylar down at the end really reflecting kind of almost stone-like or jewel-like down there. So you guys, make sure you're not throwing away your product. Use that as that garbage pile. Reuse your products and don't throw them away. Don't waste your money. All right, you guys, it's a little bit blurry there. Let me see. There we go. All right. That beautiful smile line on there. All of that gorgeous glitter that is mixed in there. And again, you guys, this is a completely customized color. No other client is ever going to be able to have this color unless they use it right away after. And you didn't mix anything else in there. But you guys, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you being here. And usually we're back here live on YouTube Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to set those notifications so that you know when we go live. And we will see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.